Hello. Today, I want to talk about patriarchy, get a bit philosophical, um, which I think is is necessary. Um, I kind of find it difficult to to read novels lately. I find that the kind of books that I read to relax, and I maybe don't have typical tastes, but the kind of books that I read to relax are things like are sort of more poetry and more kind of theory based stuff. This week I read Gender Outlaw by Kate Bornstein, which is awesome. Um, and I've been reading sort of poetry and bits and works of theory, and I just went to the library this afternoon and got Franco Moretti's Graphs, Maps, Trees, which is a book about literary history. It's really good. It sounds boring, but it's really good. And I think the reason that but I also started reading David Foster Wallace's novel Infinite Jest, which is it's about this thick. It's about the size of a breeze block. But that's also it's good, but I'm having more trouble, I think, focusing on it than I've had trouble than I have had in the past reading, because increasingly I find that stories with a kind of linear structure and beginning, middle, and end. Not that Infinite Jest has a linear structure, but with a kind of linear reality to them in the way that poetry doesn't have, is deceptive, because it kind of puts experience into this box, into these categories which it doesn't follow, in, I think, a similar way to what the gender binary does. And it's not necessarily that stories are gendered, but stories and gender, I think, come from the same place. It's a kind of lack of imagination, which I think where that comes out of is patriarchy, is hierarchy, a way of thinking that systematizes into structures. Now, how does reading theory like Derrida or Moretti make that better? Well, it doesn't, because theory is very patriarchal in its structure. The structure of arguments is, I think, also a patriarchal structure. But this is making me come off as very pretentious as talking about Derrida. I just want to say, in my defence, I find reading Derrida intensely difficult, but I do it anyway. So, I think that gender and stories and the structure of arguments stem from the same source, but the reason that I read literary theory is because I think that modern theory is working towards a point where it can destabilize the traditional structure of argumentation. They stem from the same source, of the same patriarchal source, and it's a source which limits possibilities and potentials, and even the great dark hope of anarchism is, as Laura Riding would say, not enough. Because it's still always trapped in the orbit of hierarchy. Hierarchy's in the middle, and anarchism, when it tries to escape hierarchy, is orbiting around it. And the only freedom is a kind of movement, not against the grain, but or trying to destroy the grain, but just disregarding it altogether. Because, hegemony is the structure of the mind, and it's imaginary, and the only way to get free of it is to pretend that it doesn't exist. Now, how would one go about doing that? I don't know, but expressing and embodying your own personal queerness is a start, I think. So that's our show. Sorry for the rather subdued and contemplative character. I intend to be more perky and anecdotal next week. So until then, cheerio.